This video will demonstrate how to simplify the SSH or secure shell connection in Linux. I'll be connecting two laptops, both running Linux Antix 23. The little HP stream will be the principal machine, and this is called Antix 1. And we will connect this to the larger Lenovo IdeaPad called Novo. Then I'm going to connect an Android phone to Antix 1 with the Termux Linux terminal app. Okay, so we're on the desktop of the little HP stream, which is running Antix. It's actually one of my favourite lightweight distros. Since I started using Antix, I've stopped distro hopping. Antix is on everything I've got now. So let's go into the terminal. Now, the SSH daemon creates a folder called .ssh in the home directory. It's one of the hidden system folders, and that stores all of the configs and stuff for SSH. So I've deleted that so we can start from afresh. So when we make our first connection, it will automatically create that folder and populate it with some files, which we'll look at in a moment. But let's start by finding what our IP address is. So that's just hostname -I, and there it is. So this is the IP address of Antix 1, or the little HP stream. So now to connect to SSH on this machine, we just go SSH Ollie, or whatever the username is. So, obviously the first part of the first part of the prompt, and then the IP address 192.168.1.166, and there we go. So now it's asking me that if I'm okay to proceed with making this connection, and when I say yes, it's going to automatically create a public and private key, which is used to encrypt all the data that's transmitted over this connection, and we'll see evidence of that in a moment. So if I hit yes, it's now asking me for a password, which is just the system password, which we enter, and we're in. Notice how the prompt has changed colour as well. This is due to one of my own settings in the bash RC file, and I'll go into that toward the end of this video. I'll also give you the option to download my own bash RC file, so you can colour up things the same way that I do. So once we're logged into the terminal through SSH, we can use the terminal just the same as we would do if we were logged into it through the through the user shell, through where we were before. We can even become a root user. So it's very, very powerful. But bear in mind that we are still on the, this is a sort of self-reflexive use of SSH. We're still on the local machine. We're not connecting out to anything else yet, but we are going to do that shortly. So if I log out of the SSH connection, log out of the SSH connection. And now if we just have a look at that .ssh folder, we can see now that we've got two files in here. The only one we're interested in is known hosts. So we'll copy that, we'll cat into that. And that doesn't make any sense, of course, but that's actually the public key that is used to encrypt any data that we send over this connection. The private key is hidden away somewhere. Obviously, I shouldn't show you the private key, but so that's how that works. I don't know what known hosts old is for, but we don't need to worry about that. Known host is the important one. So if I start connecting to other devices now via SSH, it will add a public key into known hosts for that particular connection, and a private key will be again hidden away on the system, and it will use those keys to encrypt data that's sent to the other device as well. Okay, so in the next bit, I'm going to show you how to simplify the connection. So we don't need to, let's just go back up to it. So we don't need to type all of that in. So we need to make it a lot simpler so that we don't need to type in an IP address, and then we'll simplify it even further. So we won't need to type in a password, and instead we'll use a highly encrypted password. Okay. Okay, so let's get on with simplifying the connection. So for this, we need to go to the .ssh folder, And again, there's those two files. Now we're going to create a new file just called config, no extensions. So we'll use the touch command for that. Okay, and there it is. And now we'll use, I'll just clear to top, and now we'll use our preferred editor to edit config. I'm going to use nano. So nano config. And so the first line is just host. This is what we're going to call our connection. So this is going to be antics1, obviously. It can be anything you want. It can be egg and bacon sandwich, cup of tea, anything you want. The next line is host name, and this is the IP address of the connection we're going to make, which is 192.168.1.166. Next up is port. This is normally 22, but it can be anything, and it's usually a good idea actually to use a different port number for this connection, but we'll stay with port 22 for now. If you use a different connection, a different port, it makes it a bit more secure. And last but not least is the user, which for this connection is Ollie, of course. So let's just double check that that's all okay, so we can save that. Come out of there. Let's go back to the home directory, and now if we log in again to SSH, we should be able to do it with just SSH antics1, and there we are, password in, and we're in. Log out. Okay, so in the next section I'm going to make some changes which will enable us to log in without using a password. Okay, so let's go back into the terminal. Now we're going to remove the need to enter a password. What we're going to do actually is encrypt the password using a public-private key pair. So in order to do that, we just have to type in SSH hyphen keygen and there it goes. And it's just confirming that it wants me to put those keys into the .ssh folder, which I do. So hit return on that. Now it's asking me for a passphrase or password. I'm going to leave this blank. Some people suggest that it's a good idea to put a password in here, but I'm wanting to really simplify my connection, not have to enter a password every time. Despite that, what we're doing here is going to make the connection a hell of a lot more secure than it was before. So I'm going to pass on that and pass again. And now that's done. So now if we go into the SSH directory, we can see now that we've got these two new files. These are the public-private keys. This one is obviously the public key. If we just cat into that, it won't make much sense. But you can see that we've got a hash in there, which is a key hash, and then at the end we've got Ollie antics1 for this connection. Okay. Let's just go back to the home directory. Now next, in order to make this work, we need to pass that public key to the authorized keys or authorized host directory, and we do that simply by typing in SSH hyphen copy hyphen ID Ollie at 192.168.1.166. Make sure everything's correct there, and off we go. It's doing its stuff. We enter the system password again, and we're done. Okay, so now if we go back into .ssh folder, we will see we've got an authorized keys file. It's raining outside. I wonder if you can hear that. It's going to mess up my noise profiling. So we copy that and we cat into that. We can see now we've got the same public key that we were looking at before, which ends with Ollie at antics. If we also look at cat ID RSA pub, we'll see they're both the same. Yes, they're both the same, you see. Starts with all those A's, starts with all the A's. So let's clear that top. So now let's go back to the home directory and try to log in again. This time we shouldn't need to put a password in. So again, it's going to be SSH antics1. And we're in. Excellent. Alright, so I think now we're ready to start connecting over to Novo, our other laptop running Antics. Okay, so I've just hopped on to the Lenovo IdeaPad. This is the machine that we're going to connect to shortly from Antics One, but I just want to show you a few things on here. So first we'll go into the terminal. We need to know what the IP address of this machine is. So as before, hostname -i, and we can see there it's quite similar apart from the last number, which is 146. So if we connect to SSH on here, again it's Ollie at 192.168.1.146. Make sure that's right. Yep. We enter the system password as before, and we're in. And you can see now that we have a different coloured SSH prompt. That again is set in the local bashrc file on this machine. Okay, so let's just log out of that. And let's just have a look at the .ssh folder on here. We shouldn't see anything special. See, it's the same as before with the known hosts file. When we connect Antics 1 to this machine, it will put the signing key for the login into an authorized file on this in this folder, but I'll show that later. It'll all become clear when we start doing that. So if we just go back to the home directory as well, I'm just going to create some unique folders in here so that we've got something to look at when we connect in from Antics 1 to sort of prove that we're on this machine. So make directory, we'll call them silly names, pish, pash, posh, make 3 directories, and there they are, pish, pash, posh. Okay, if we go to this thingy, we can see them there, pish, pash, posh. Remember those. Okay, so now we're going to hop back onto Antics 1 and connect into this laptop. Okay, so we're back onto Antics 1, or the little HP Stream laptop. So let's go back into the terminal on this side, and now we'll connect to Novo. So SSH, Ollie at, if you can remember the IP address, 192.168.1.146. Okay. Okay, now because this is the first time that we've connected to the Novo laptop from here, again it's asking me to confirm that I'm okay with making this connection and adding a public private key to the known hosts file. So yes, we'll do that. Okay, and now I enter a password, but this time it's the password for Lenovo, and we're in. And notice now we're on the pink prompt. We're in the home Ollie directory, of course, so if we list that, we can see our folders that we put in before, pish pash posh. What we're going to do now is simplify the connection to Lenovo. So if you remember before, we went into the .ssh folder and the config file. So let's go into that, and we'll add the connection details for Novo. So we'll just call it host Novo. Host name again is 192.168.1.146. Port again is 22, and user again is Ollie. It's the username on that machine as well. Okay, just double check that. Yes, we're fine. Okay, save that. Go back to the home directory on Antics 1, and now if we go to SSH Novo, and we're ready to go in. Okay, log out. So now we're going to copy the encryption key for the for the login to Novo. And again, it's very straightforward. All we have to do this time is just type SSH hyphen copy ID. And this, of course, will mean that we can log into Novo without having to enter a password. So this time it's 192.168.1.146, the ID, the IP address of the Lenovo. So everything's right there. So yes, it's doing its business. We enter the system password for the Lenovo machine, and we're done. Okay. So now, if we log into Lenovo, so if we go SSH Novo, we're straight in. No password. Excellent. And now if we go and have a look at the SSH folder in here, we'll see that we now have an authorized keys file which has been added. And if we copy that and cat into it, we should see the Antix1 key in there, and we've got it, yes. So there it is, Antix1. Okay, excellent. So basically, getting ham-fisted this evening. So basically, that's just copied the key from Antix1 into the authorized files on Novo. And that key relates to a private key which is kept on Antix1. So let's just log out of here, come back home, change directory.ssh. So it's basically added the RSA public key for the login encryption into the authorized keys folder on Lenovo, on the other machine. It's also in this machine as well. That's how I can log into this machine without having to use the full login. So it's all very good. So next we're going to try and connect to Antix1 and also Novo from an Android phone using the Termux Linux terminal app.